Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Thumb on the Pulse. My name is Thumbspazm, and this right here is Thumb on the Pulse, a weekly and sometimes bi-weekly news show where we bring you guys game industry information, streamer industry information, and just general news around the gamosphere and the interwebs. I hope you guys get to stick around for a little while because we do have a ton of news to cover this week. We're going to go ahead and just get started with some of the news stories that got our hearts racing. Please feel free, if you're watching this on YouTube, to like, comment, and subscribe. There's buttons all down there for you to do so. If you could do that, that would help us get the word out on the news and our weekly news show, Thumb on the Pulse. So strap in, get ready, because here we go. As I said again, guys, thank you for being here for Thumb on the Pulse. Let's go ahead and just get started into our first news story. Big year for Epic Games this year. They've been spending tons of money on different titles, acquiring titles and offering them as free-to-play, changing their payment system within games to try to appease different people, all sorts of things this year. However, another big news story has just broke for Epic Games. Epic has announced today that Sony has just invested over $200 million into the company that is Epic Games as part of a $1 billion fundraising round that Epic's been trying to petition for well over a year now. Over a dozen investors have contributed to this $1 billion fundraising campaign. With this fundraising campaign, as well as the different titles and franchises that the company Epic Games does own, the company now has been valued at roughly 28.7 billion buckaroo skis. That's a whole lot of Skrilla. Early on April 13th, Epic Games announced in a press release that it has completed a $1 billion round of fundraising in order to help their developers and the publishers and things like that to be able to support future growth opportunities. Of that $1 billion, like I'd mentioned earlier, Sony has contributed $200 million of that, a figure in which Epic seems understandably excited about. According to Epic Games, Sony's contribution builds on the already close relationship that the two companies have and reinforces their shared mission to advance the state of art in technology, entertainment, and socially connected online services. To take on Steam, Epic Games has spent the past 2 years shoveling Fortnite money into the Epic Games Store, making over 100 exclusivity deals and giving away free games every single week. Again, like I kind of touched on previously. We knew that Epic Games was spending a lot of cash to get customers to do purchases through its online stores and purchases through the games, but we didn't have a very specific idea until now. The reason that we kind of got all these figures all of a sudden is that Epic is currently still in a legal battle with Apple, and because of this Apple-Epic lawsuit, we have learned through documents that were mandatory through the court that Epic committed around $444 million to the Epic Game Store exclusively through deals with games and exclusivity deals with other developers. That was just in 2020 alone, so we're not really sure how much they've been spending this year, but as we've noted, Epic's been in the news a lot this year and last year for that matter, so we'll keep more news coming your way, funneling down the Thumb on the Pulse pipelines about Epic and the Epic Apple lawsuit, the funds that are going towards Epic, and what they plan to do with it all. Something I've been really excited to report on as the news comes out for it and as the news progresses with the story for that matter, Xbox Game Cloud, or xCloud rather, Project xCloud is continuing to expand. Xbox Cloud Gaming, which used to be known as Project xCloud, is sort of like the new Netflix for gaming. People who subscribe to Microsoft's $14.99 per month Xbox Game Pass Ultimate plan get access to more than 100 titles over the cloud. The cloud gaming aspect allows you to stream games without having to download them to your phone or to your console, provided that you have a fast enough internet connection, of course. The streaming option is already available for Android phones and just rolled out in limited releases for beta for iPhones, iPads, and PCs this week. I'm super excited because Sony's already had this type of remote gameplay opportunity for iPhones for quite some time now, as well as Android phones, and I actually have bought an exclusive and specific mount for a PS4 controller specifically for this purpose. This little mount right here, this little doohickey, straps to my PlayStation 4 controller, allows me to mount my phone to the controller, and allows me to play PlayStation games remotely through a Wi-Fi connection on my iPhone. Now, xCloud, or the Xbox Cloud Gaming service, is supposed to allow the exact same thing, but with Xboxes. So super excited to be able to play any of my Xbox Game Pass games on the go. Super excited that Xbox is finally releasing this xCloud service to all of the iPhone users and Apple users. We have missed a couple of showcases over the last couple weeks, I'm not going to lie, but I had a lot of fun getting caught up with all the showcases. One most predominantly that I was bummed that I missed. On April 21st, Oculus had its first official Oculus Gaming Showcase. A lot of things were announced in the Oculus Gaming Showcase, and we might go a little bit more in depth next week in the news segment, but a few that I wanted to touch base on primarily. Number one, Oculus Quest 2 officially gets a software update within the next couple weeks that allows you to support PC connection wirelessly. As a lot of you guys know, I went through a lot of trouble in my setup to try to connect my Oculus 2 to my PC wired in order to make sure that I had a pretty decent battery life, in order to make sure that I could play my Steam games on my Oculus as well as stream it all to you and stay connected without the wires getting in my way. Well, this new software update just eliminated all that. I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep mine connected hardwired to my PC, but now if I need the opportunity or bring my Oculus Quest 2 to other people's abodes, I can play these types of devices wirelessly. Another big announcement was that Resident Evil 4 is going to be remastered and not ported, but almost completely redone for VR for exclusive Oculus access. There's a lot of news on this one, and again, we'll cover this a little bit later, but really excited to play Resident Evil 4 in VR. More games announced with the Oculus Gaming Showcase. Pistol Whip is getting another update. Warhammer 40,000, Battle Sister, Lone Echo 2, Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy Edge Part 2, Star Wars Pinball VR, I Expect You to Die 2, The Spy and the Liar, as well as Wraith, The Oblivion, Afterlife. A lot of these titles looked awesome. It seemed like they were focusing a little bit more on the horror aspect in this showcase, but a lot of new games and a lot of new ideas on the cusp. So look out for more VR opportunities. Interesting news in the Sony PS5 realm, kind of jumping back to a little Sony news. There is an update in April. If you've downloaded the update, you'll be experiencing additional key features to the next generation console, including the long-awaited ability to store, but not necessarily play, games on a PS5 approved external hard drive, better options for quickly disabling in-game chat on a system level as opposed to having to disable chat in each specific game, as well as adding the option for players to search their library of purchased games as opposed to having to scroll through, so an actual search bar. The storefront for the PlayStation Portable, or PSP, which dates all the way back to 2004, will be officially closing as of July 2nd, 2021, so beware for that. If you're concerned about the PS4 or PS3 or PlayStation Vita stores closing, Sony did announce that they will be keeping those platforms open, but unfortunately the PSP or PlayStation Portable will be closing as of July 2nd. More console news, Nintendo Switch news, the biggest mother-flapping Nintendo Switch you've ever seen. Michael Pick, avid gamer and engineer of sorts, has created a functional, extra-large Nintendo Switch, measuring at roughly 6 feet wide. Aside from not being able to remove the Joy-Cons on either side, essentially making this one giant Switch Lite as opposed to a Switch, Pick is donating the custom giant Nintendo Switch to St. Jude's Hospital in order for allowing the children to enjoy this instead of just putting it up on his wall or something like that. I'm assuming it's just going to be on display as a giant monitor for the kids to play their actual Switches on. Hopefully, it'll be easy for them to install, and the kids over there absolutely love it. Continuing on with Nintendo news and another showcase that we missed entirely, the Nintendo Indie World Direct was on April 14th of this year. We got a lot of new games to cover. I'm not going to talk too much about a lot of them because there were so many announcements in the Indie World Direct announcements. However, there's a lot of really cool games in this one, so I highly recommend you guys checking out the Indie World Direct. The link will be in the description down below. Starting off, again, like I mentioned, lots of games were announced for release release the day of the showcase. There were a lot of games announced for release later this year, and only a couple were sprinkled in there that won't be released until next year. A lot of that information is available in the description for the video or on their website, so again, those links will be in our description down below. A really interesting game called Road 96 was premiered or was introduced at the Indie World's Game Showcase, a procedural narrative game inspired by 90s road movies where each single storyline is absolutely unique. That one's launching later this year. Never Yield, a 3D free-running game. Last Stop, Hindsight, Ollie Ollie World, which is a side-scrolling skateboarding game for Switch coming out later this year. The Longing, which was another really good one that looked really, really interesting to me. There Is No Game is the title of another game coming to Switch, which is a big announcement that we'll talk about a little bit later. A new iteration of an 80s version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge looks absolutely epic. Chris Tales is a fairy tale world where you can travel back in time, and this one had a really, really unique animation to it. Getsu Fumaden, Undying Moon, is a hack-and-slash roguelite set in the depths of an underworld inspired by Eastern mythology. Aztec Forgotten Gods, Skull the Hero Slayer, is an action platformer with roguelike elements that looked super, super sweet, taking kind of a switch on the hero versus bad guy, and now you get to play the bad guy. Art of Rally, Kiwi, an interesting-looking puzzle game. Labyrinth City, Pierre the Maze Detective. Again, oddly, I can't say the name right, but that one looked really, really good too. Weaving Tides, The House of the Dead, Ender Lilies, Beasts of Maravilla, Fez, and Oxenfree 2, Lost Signals. Tons of titles. Check them out by clicking the description down below. All of them were worthwhile as far as just checking out the trailers and everything. So that's why I'm just going to put the link for the Indie World Showcase down below. Check it out. It wasn't very long. Moving on to a few more specific titles that we've reported on a little bit last year, a little bit this year. We want to make sure that we keep reporting on and keeping you guys in the news. Psychonauts 2, slated to come out this year officially. Last time we reported on Psychonauts 2, it was simply a random tweet that we got from the creator saying, hey guys, sorry for not keeping you informed, but things are going as planned and we're really excited about this game. Well, we have gotten an official statement, and I'll read it to you right now. Yes, Psychonauts 2 is this year, and yes, I've been mentioning that here and elsewhere for a while now, but no, I can't tell you when because someone from the company would arrange for a mysterious cactus accident to happen to me. But it's real, it's playable, and it's coming. So please be on the lookout for Psychonauts 2, guys. This is one I've been super excited about for a couple years now, and we've reported on a lot in Thumb on the Pulse, so I hope you guys get a chance to check it out when it releases. Deathloop has been delayed once more until September. We didn't have a ton of news on this one. The Arcane Lions upcoming time loop shooter has been delayed until September 14th of this year. In a message on Twitter, the director for Deathloop shared the team's reasoning for bumping the game back a little bit further, saying, at Arcane, we have a strong vision for Deathloop, and we don't want to compromise that based on time. But we also need to do everything we can to ensure the health and safety of everyone in the studio. So almost putting this on a COVID-19 type of excuse, which we've gotten a lot of with the developers, understandably so. People are understaffed. However, it's another opportunity for companies to take a little bit more time on titles and make sure they come out the way they want them to. King of Seas was an interesting title that was brought to my attention, not to be confused with Sea of Thieves. The titles are so close. Even the imagery looks a little bit close. King of Seas is a procedurally generated RPG, however, from Italian developer 3D Clouds. King of Seas is a single-player experience rather than a multiplayer online experience. This King of Seas game is set in a deadly learning world, kind of in the vein of like the procedurally generated type like Minecraft. The atmosphere can affect gameplay, such as sailing through storms. Missions including conquering settlements and classic treasure hunts also kind of seem to be in a vein of sort of like an Assassin's Creed Black Flag meets Sea of Thieves. Really intrigued to get my hands on this game, especially because I've kind of been enjoying a lot of single player games lately. Sky Children Light is another single-player game that we wanted to touch base on. This award-winning mobile game, which won Best Mobile Game at South by Southwest, is expanding its horizons and bringing its game to the Nintendo Switch platform this summer. Players get to use a cape that allows them to fly around through the sky, as the name implies, and travel between different realms throughout the game. Like many mobile games, Sky uses a season system, kicking off 2021 with a Seasons of Dreams. While it hasn't been confirmed yet, it seems very likely that a new season will start in Sky once this game kicks off in June on the Nintendo Switch. So hopefully we'll get some more good new content. And as always, we bring you a fantastic segment that will happen every single news show. Yes, that's right, guys. We have more free games to announce to you guys. Free games, more free games. Free games this time. Boom, baby. Do you want free games? I got free games. Epic's got free games. PS5's got free games. So many free games to be had this week. Not so many like 2 handfuls, but maybe 1 solid handful of free games. Epic Store offered 3 free games just recently. They ended on the 22nd, unfortunately, and that was Deponia: The Complete Journey, Ken Follett's Pillars of Earth, and The First Tree. However, they offered 2 new games that are available right now as we speak, and that's Alien Isolation, you bet your bones that I picked that one up, and Hand of Fate 2, a new game that I haven't tried, which is honestly one of my favorite parts about Epic Games doing these free games all the time in their store, is that sometimes I get to pick up games that I haven't heard of that look interesting, sometimes I get to pick up big titles, and sometimes I get to pick up games I've never heard of and I might enjoy next time I'm looking for a random game to try. Also free games, PS4 is offering the Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition, which includes both the base game and the Frozen Wild DLC. It's available to download completely free for both PS4 and PS5 from April 19th through May 14th, so make sure you grab that as soon as you can. Moving into some updates and some information on games in the future, starting with Minecraft and the Cave and Cliff update. News coming out from Minecraft about this update. Unfortunately, it's not the greatest news. The big Minecraft Caves and Cliffs update that was expected to be out this summer has been delayed, sort of. Basically, what they've decided is that given the scale of the project that they're undertaking to make this update, which Mahjong, the company that makes Minecraft, has said is the most ambitious update that they've had for Minecraft to this point, it's decided to split the update into 2 parts. Not necessarily a delay, but more of just a split of the idea into 2. They're still going to be releasing the first part of this update this summer. However, they are going to hold the second part of the update back until the holiday season. Specifics of the split weren't actually shared technically, but Mahjong has said that the summer update, as it's now envisioned, will focus on some of the cute and fun mob type things, cool items and new blocks to include, just to kind of make sure that we're appeased until the next update comes out. According to our researcher, Foxfire, most of the things like Generation, Build Heights, and mostly the Warden and its area won't be out most likely until the holiday. However, an interesting fact is that they said that all the new blocks will be available for the first round for the survival mode, but no Generation, so we're kind of curious as how that all is going to be implemented. More information on that as it comes out, and hopefully we'll get to play some of it together. Ubisoft has also made an announcement of sorts, rather a closure announcement. As games get older, and we play a lot of these games on the internet, they get less and less traction. Less and less people are showing up on the servers and the online modes to play, and ultimately companies can't afford to keep these servers going and dedicated to games that just aren't getting the traffic that they need to financially support it. So Ubisoft announced that they will be pulling plugs on older game servers later this year, so be prepared. Here's a list of the ones that are going down: Assassin's Creed 2, Prince of Persia Forgotten Sands, Far Cry 2, Anno 1404, Might and Magic Clash of Heroes, Might and Magic X Legacy, Splinter Cell Conviction, and The Settlers 7. All of their servers will be shut down by the end of this year. A big game that we've reported on once in the past that I'm super excited to start playing this series, just because I've been looking more and more to the lore of Nier and have been super intrigued by it. Nier Automata, as we have last reported, had released a version of the game for Xbox Game Pass that basically trumped the version that was on Steam. Steam, when it released its version of Nier Automata, had been met with a lot of backlash by fans because there was a lot of bugs and issues with loading and things like that. Just a lot of issues that you wouldn't expect a game like Nier Automata to come out with in regards to a new version on a platform like Steam. Well, with their version on Xbox Game Pass, they included all the patches, all the fixes to the bugs, and everything that you'd want from a PC version of the game. Well, Steam finally announced that many years after having the game and having had the game on their platform for quite some time, they're finally going to be getting the patch that has been available for quite some time in order to fix all the bug issues and frame rate issues that they've been having and that we talked about last week. With pressure from the community, as well as maybe a little bit of pressure from having the game being released on Game Pass with the Become as Gods edition, they've finally gotten these patches available to Steam users. Another fun little bit of news on the Nier world is that a Nier replicant version 1.22474487139 and more is going to be coming out April 23rd. I believe that's today. April 23rd, today, we will be getting another version of the original Nier. Basically, it's a game of a kind young man who sets out with a grimoire Weiss, a strange talking book, to search for the sealed verses in order to save his sister Yona, who fell terminally ill to the Black Scrawl. I'm super intrigued on all the lore for Nier, and I can't wait to start playing this game. As promised earlier, we do have a little bit more information on the game. There is no game because it's got a surprise launch on Switch. Originally released in August of 2020, There Is No Game, Wrong to Mention, is a really special type of puzzle game where players see tons of mini games within this big game, inspired by the likes of Breakout, Day of the Tentacle, The Legend of Zelda, and many, many more. Super unique game that I've seen lots of different streamer friends play. This is a very meta, breaking the fourth wall type of game. So if you're in the mood for something new, check it out. But speaking of the mini games, all of them are kind of wrapped together in, like I was saying, a meta story about being trapped in different gaming dimensions. It is now available on Switch. Check it out if you're interested in a new, unique, mind-bending type game. Theme for talking about games from last week, Balan Wonderworld. Now, as you guys can remember, or if you tuned in last time when we did our live broadcast or checked out last week's episode of Thumb on the Pulse on YouTube, we were very much on the fence on this game. I was doing my best to try to be an unbiased reporter and give the facts about this game. However, it continues to put out bad facts. As the game officially released just a few weeks ago, fans were initially disappointed to see that not much has changed since the pre-release demo. Balan Wonderworld was just instantly ripped apart by critics following the incredibly poor sales that it got, and even accusations of plagiarism. One fan discovered that one of the late game music tracks kind of rips off certain motifs, mostly from the 1984 Ghostbusters film, which is a little bizarre. Now it seems like the game's demo will be officially removed from Square Enix from all the different storefronts on PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X. The demo was removed earlier last week. Balan Wonderworld has also been the subject of an interesting case of positive review bombing, where it's a little suspect, and fans have been noticing that it seems bots were leaving overwhelmingly positive reviews about the game on Metacritic, despite it having really been poorly received by fans and critics overall. Lots of weird things going on with this game. This was a fully funded, completely intended to be one of the big Square Enix titles to come out this year, especially because it was fronted and a lot of the creation style was planned by one of the original designers on the Sonic franchise. So we'll see where this game goes. I'm thinking it's going in the tubes, babies. I think this one's going right in the trash. Speaking of games we enjoy and that we like, Genshin Impact getting a brand new update as of the 28th of April, next Wednesday. Genshin 1.15 news includes 2 brand new characters to the franchise, Eula and Yanfei. I think I pronounced that correctly. Eula is the Spindrift Knight from Mondstadt, and Yanfei is a legal advisor from Liyue Harbor. Lot more hangout events for Noelle Part 2, and starting a new hangout event for Diona, new domain with new artifacts. We've got new weekly bosses announced, new cryo hypostasis bosses, and an abyss boss. There's also housing that's being added to the game. Personal housing, in fact, also known as the Serenity Pot. By the way, I love that name, Serenity Pot. This allows you to enter a custom realm for you to decorate and build your home on 3 different landscapes. Tubby, the teapot spirit, is going to be the one that's on hand helping you with all your home decoration needs. And as you travel around the land of Teyvat, which is the main area, the world that we live in Genshin Impact, you're going to discover various furnishing blueprints, which can be used to create furniture and furnish your home. The more furnishings you make, the more trust you earn from Tubby, that lovable spirit, and the more help and resources Tubby can offer you in return. The older weekly bosses will now cost less resin, taking them from 60 to 30 resin. That way you can get double championship experience in co-op mode with your characters, and now you'll get new seasonal challengers and events on hand as well. Also, the Genshin Impact Switch release has been slated for September. I am so excited for September, guys. My birthday month is going to be Genshin Impact has lots of content and now might even have a roadmap of content and releases for the next 12 years. The creators of Genshin Impact have mentioned that they've got ideas and updates that should last them well over a decade. If they make it 2 years, it'll be a phenomenal success for this game, so we'll see if they make it 12. Last but not least, we've got news on everybody's favorite game, right? Animal Crossing New Horizons. While not as big as a holiday update in Animal Crossing, Nature Day, or Earth Day as we all know it, still offers a few items and rewards to help players beautify their islands and homes and become more environmentally conscious. Also, we've got new hedge colors for Leaf. Leaf is a character that presents us with a lot of foliage and stuff like that. Also news in Animal Crossing, if you were looking to go to Build-A-Bear and get one of those Animal Crossing dolls, don't. They're sold out. Also, if you're looking for Sanrio cards with the Animal Crossing theme, don't look. They're sold out. Also, if you were looking for Animal Crossing soundtracks, a physical version of the Animal Crossing soundtrack that Japan put out online, don't. They're sold out. Animal Crossing is selling everything they put their freaking logo out. This is a phenomenal business plan for this company by putting out limited edition products with the Animal Crossing logos on there. There is not a soul on this earth that hasn't heard about Animal Crossing, and they're taking full advantage with marketing all of their new toys, new plushies, new animals, new soundtracks. Animal Crossing is killing it in the pandemic year and seems to be just rolling that over into 2021. Really excited to see what else comes out. As usual, guys, thank you for being here for Thumb on the Pulse. This is probably my favorite project that we work on week in and week out, and I can't tell you how thankful and grateful I am for you guys to be here. But as I mentioned before, guys, this is Thumb on the Pulse. My name's Thumbspazm. Thanks for sticking around while listening to all the news that we got by putting our thumb on the pulse. We appreciate you being here every single week. Go ahead and hit that like. Comment down below, subscribe button and make it gray. Maybe hit the bell so you can know when we post more videos. My name's Thumbspazm, as mentioned before, and we will see you next time. It needs to be in a place where it's going to pick up my mouth hole, where my mouth hole sounds. That's a big switch. King of Seas, not Sea of Thieves. King of Seas is the RPG. Sea of Thieves is the online multiplayer game. You get a free game. You get a free game. You get a free game. Everybody gets free games. Bam! News is done, babies. The news is done.